No, we don't know what I don't know what the hell we're doing here. So, hey, Lance, how you doing? Like, let me count us down, and we'll get the theme song going, and we'll get in here. We'll just talk about that stimulus package, buddy.
Technical difficulty. You got excited when I said stimulus.
That's
I'm
right. Here
gonna
we
be doing
go.
some stimulating myself.
Hey guys, live on Facebook. We're gonna do the theme song, and we're gonna get started. So here we go. Oh, yeah, live from Jonesboro, Arkansas, STS Studios. I'm Brian Tramel. What's going on, Lance?
I am right here in the Planners Redskin Spanish Peanut Studios in Chicago, Illinois. You know, because Planners doesn't get it. They didn't change the name yet, so we're in the Planners Redskin Studios. So, and as opposed to the Planners Legumes Studios.
Yeah, there you go. How you like that generic?
It was like Night at the Roxbury. Yeah, it was like Night at the Roxbury.
Well, I don't want to mess up and Facebook tell us. Oh, you're using. Everybody else can do it, but me. Yeah. Just remember, guys, we are on Facebook Live until the commercial break. You can listen to the whole episode, the edited version, audio version tomorrow on the feed, or you can subscribe to Patreon, get it tonight, or get the video tonight. Whatever you want to do. If you want to watch us, or you want to just listen to us.
I think the ladies are going to want to watch you before they go to bed tonight. I think that's probably our big target demo. You're the demo.
It's just, I have Mark Southern, I have Dustin Starr, and I have you, and it just, all these pretty boys make me look ugly.
The hair.
Make me look ugly.
I was saying before we went on, I have to do the hair right because, I'm following Dustin Starr with the perfect hair, so I can never wear a hat because I don't want us to be, the MAGA boys or whatever here with the hats on. So
right.
Can never have the hat. Although you're wearing the hat backwards, so.
No, you wear the hat backwards. I don't want to talk about it. I want to thank everyone for our listens already this month. We have more listens in this month, and it's the 19th than we had last year in January. So thank you already. Yeah. Stick with us right before the commercial, and we're going to give away the dud of the year. That's the worst downloaded episode. Yeah, that we're going to give those away for 2020. And also, this is episode, I can't believe I'm saying this, Lance. This is episode 399. Does it feel like 399?
How much do we charge for this? $3.99? $3.99? How's it go?
Yeah.
No, it does not feel like $3.99. It feels like, it just keeps getting more and more comfortable us doing this. Our chemistry, just like we always talk about it. So pulling back the curtain for the people watching on here, it just feels great doing these shows, with all the different subject matter that we come up with, whether it's WTF or CKC or interviews or whatever. It just feels like it's a pleasure to do this, man. So thank you for having me on all the time.
We celebrated our 4th year returning on Saturday. I was always excited about, this is weird, but I got some advice one time. It said, wait till the 4th year and you'll really start exploding. If you can put it out weekly, and we put 2 out a week, your downloads will start going more after 4 years. And I told the wife, I was like, wow, I didn't think it was going to come true, but it did. So we're doing a lot more, and it has a lot to do with being on Facebook Live and more people getting to see us. And just to let you know, our most downloaded personality of all time, he has like 4 most downloaded episodes. Kenny Bolin returns for episode 400 on Facebook Live. The first part on Thursday. And we might talk about wrestling. Hell if I know. So you know how Kenny is.
You just throw something out there and he'll run with it, and you'll get a word in edgewise about 15 minutes later. That's how it usually goes.
So true. All right, let's get started. Tell everybody what we're doing tonight.
We are doing Observing the Observer. This is the Wrestle Kingdom 15 edition of this, which happened on January 4th and 5th, just recently, where we're comparing our thoughts about Meltzer's grades and reviews of the show to what we thought of the show. And because this is their show of the year, they're kind of like, I guess it's like the Daytona 500 in NASCAR, where they start like with their big thing of the year, and then they do some other stuff throughout the year, but their real big show is Wrestle Kingdom. So right at the beginning of the year.
Did you say the big show?
No, that's the new Cody Rhodes vehicle on TNT.
Oh, I was thinking about
that
the
talent
WWE
show
guy,
with that
so,
Snoop Dogg guy that I love. Anyway, so a couple of preliminary thoughts. I thought I think it's easier to digest 2 shows than it is to digest like 1 8-hour show. Like
I
each of
agree.
these
I
shows
agree.
were
Yeah.
about each of these were like 4 hours plus. But I think it's easier to come back and do 2 4-hour shows back to back than to do like whatever that one was like 2 3 years ago, where it's like honest to God, it was like almost 8 hours. It was like I handled it, but man, it was tough, grueling stuff in the middle of that show. So I thought on this show, night 2 was slightly better. The whole card, well, we'll talk about the averages on our scores at the end, but I had night 2 slightly better than night 1. The other thing that I wanted to talk about before we get to the matches is the weird atmosphere. This is obviously a building that holds Tokyo Dome holds like about whatever 40,000 people, and they had whatever 20% filled capacity in there. And the sound was just really interesting. In certain matches, it was really good and cool, and the hard hitting noises and sounds and stuff. But then in the other matches, you would hear like the people were handed like they sounded like paper towel tubes, like they were banging paper towel
What did
tubes.
he call them? I can't remember what he called them. It got on my nerves like that horn does when you're watching
in Mexico,
when you're watching Lucha Libre. Yeah.
But I've heard that same sound, the paper towel tubes that I'm making. I'm talking about. There was like it was like when you'd hit your brother with the paper towel tube.
Right.
That's what it sounded like, and I've heard that same sound at Lucha Libre too. So at Lucha they have those, and they have the horns too. So it was definitely interesting. There were a couple matches where the sound and the hard hitting sounds from the ring really stood out. So it's just a different atmosphere, really weird compared to the Thunderdome and everything else that we're seeing these days. Impact, where there's like literally nobody there. So it was just another interesting arena for wrestling in 2021. So shall we start with night 1?
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Let me let
All
everyone know this is issue January the 13th, 2021. If you're an Observer reader, go ahead and you can read along or look at the other matches because we can't cover everything because it's 2 nights.
Too many matches.
So we're gonna too many matches. So we're gonna look at it now. So go ahead. I'll set up. Let you talk.
You picked out 5 matches from each night, and you left off. There was one that you left off that I was kind of surprised you left off, and one that you included that I was surprised. So we'll talk about that. But the first match we're talking about from night 1 was my man Hiromu beating El Fantasmo, and in the business we call him ELP. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yeah.
We call him ELP because we're in the business. So this match full of cringe spots for me. Both guys really, but mainly Hiromu taking all kinds of cringe spots where he lands on his head, lands on his neck. ELP. One of the moves that I loved was ELP hitting a senton while Hiromu was draped across the ropes, but he was draped like across his spine rather than draped like across his stomach. He was like laying across the rope. So I love that senton. ELP coming off the top onto Hiromu where he's laying on the ropes. This was to determine who was going to face Ishimori on the next day, on day 2, for the lightweight title. So ELP used all kinds of Bullet Club moves. I think that was the gist of the match. The story of the match was ELP used in Styles Clash. Starts right away with the ref bumps. One of my big complaints about New Japan in this year or so is the preponderance of ref bumps. So I was just shaking my head. But Hiromu ends up winning with a Hurricane Rana. Dave gave it 4 stars. I gave it 3 3/4. I love Hiromu. Just about anything that guy does, I love. So grade was pretty comparable there. What did you have it at?
Same. I gave it the same thing as you did, 3 3/4. So pretty much right there with Dave on that. ELP is a guy that I think he's so talented. I love to watch him, but he hasn't got me to the point to where I see his name and I want to watch his match. Does that make sense? Every match that I see him in most of them are very, very good, especially with a good opponent. But I love what he did. He did the AJ thing, the Kenny Omega. He was dedicating the whole match to the Bullet Club, and that was fun. And just like I said, just fun to watch. Great match too. The crowd was kind of noisy too during this match.
Would have been good to start the card, but they had some other bullshit before that. Anyway, all right, moving on. Second match.
Kenta. It was Kenta.
All in capital letters. So Kenta beating Kojima, who was, of course, a sub for Juice Robinson. I'm not a fan of those Kojima chops in the corner. I think it's the dumbest fucking thing, but it happens in that match. It happens in every match. It's his trademark. Kenta DDT'd on the apron was a really brutal spot. I actually started to get into this match, believe it or not. Kojima is 50, so I got to cut him a little bit of slack. They ended up getting physical, and it actually picked up
50,
as 50 in the ring is old. Yeah, I mean, it's not old compared to us, but it's old for the ring, and he looks in good shape too. So it got physical, it picked up. So I cut it some slack. Kenta eventually wins with the GTS. Dave gave it 3 3/4. I gave it 3. It was watchable, but I don't know. I think I would have liked having Juice in there better, even though Juice is so annoying to me. But I think Juice would have been a better matchup in the ring. I thought Dave scored that a little bit higher.
Yeah, 2 matches in a row. We hadn't even talked about this ahead of time. 3 stars is what I gave it. Exactly what you did. It was one of those where I just couldn't bring myself into getting into it because Kenta is not. Both
boring.
Of these guys,
Kenta's
one guy
boring.
is on his way out. One guy is he's boring. I hate to say that, but he is really boring.
Yeah. So, all right. So then the short straw was drawn on the next match. So we have Tanahashi taking on the Great Okan. Oh God.
Great Okan!
This was terrible. This was awful. And as I'm writing down my notes about this, I kept thinking Tana must have drawn the short straw on this because he got stuck with this load.
You even sent me a message on Facebook because you knew I watched it before you did. And you go, oh God. And I think you said something about Meltzer's going to tear this apart or something.
I would go ahead. But yeah, so I thought Tana couldn't bring this to even a watchable match for me, and I love Tana. So the comparisons that I'm going to make here, Flair and JYD, when everybody talked about Flair could have a match with a broom or a mop, and he had good matches with JYD. And for whatever reason, my visual was Rey Mysterio literally working with a punching bag. That was like literally the visual that I had while this match was going on. Tana can still go. Tana is great, but Tana just couldn't he tried, but he couldn't get a match out of this idiot. So he wins with a couple of high fly flows. Dave, this was definitely my biggest discrepancy on grades here. Dave gave it 3 3/4. I gave it 2 1/4. And the entire grade, the entire 2 1/4 was just for Tanahashi giving it his all and trying to make something out of this. I thought it was terrible and no fault of his. It was just working with this Okan dude is just a losing proposition.
I bet you didn't know, which I usually do on this, but I didn't prepare for it this time. But I like Great Okan. Can you believe that?
I don't believe it.
A horrible match.
What's there to like?
Actually, a horrible. I guess it's because of his size, and I know legit. He would really legit. I mean, there's not a lot of wrestlers that would whip my ass, but he would. So no.
So what was your grade?
For some reason, I like him, and I don't know why. I guess it's just one of those things. But I agree 100% with you. I gave it 2.5 stars, and I thought, well, I gave it 2.5 stars just for one guy that was in the ring and one guy that made me laugh sometimes in the ring. So there we go. Pretty much me and you are agreeing on everything. So good God. All right, let's
weird.
Well, that'll change here in a minute.
I'm sure it will. So as soon as I eclipse the 5-star mark,
you're
gonna shoot me down there. So ironically, after we have Great Okan, we have the Great Okada versus the Great Ospreay. So you see what I did there? This was the match I was waiting for. It's ironic that it followed that last piece of crap. So I thought the card had kind of plateaued somewhat to get to this match. And then this was magnificent. This was what I was waiting for. After Ospreay turned at the G1, this was what it was building to, and it delivered. The sound, this was one of the matches where I thought the sound was super cool. It echoed through the building. It sounded great. There was many holy shit spots. Okada getting suplexed on that hard table that didn't break was amazing. Ospreay getting tombstoned on the apron. Ospreay hitting a Spanish fly off the top. Just so many great moves. You can't even recount all of them. But it was the story of the match. A lot of it was the money clip getting on, the money clip being broken, getting to the ropes. So he broke the money clip. And then Okada finally winning with the Rainmaker. So I wrote down 2 of the all-time greats at the top of their game. That was my reference to this match. So they went 35 minutes, although it did not at all feel like 35 minutes. There's a match coming up that went about 48 minutes, and it felt every bit of 48 minutes. This one, 35 minutes, did not feel like it. It was entertaining throughout. pretty close on the grades here. Dave, 5.25. I gave it 5.
I gave it 5. God, we agreed with everyone.
Oh my God, it's scary.
Well, I won't go over 5. So, but I wrote down stiff. I thought it was really stiff. Dave made a comment that I thought I would mention. He says Okada's goal here was to do another Okada Omega match.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. It really felt like something special. These two guys, and Ospreay is somebody special. And Okada will go down as one of the greatest that me and you've seen. And there'll be all these old timers that say, "Oh, he's not as good as Ric Flair. He's not as good as blah, blah, blah." But Okada is. He is that good, guys. He really is. If you've never seen him, and I know there's some people that watch this on Facebook Live have never seen him, go out of your way, get a match with him. I gave it 5 stars. I also made a reference to the table. That was a crazy spot, and the Rainmaker did it. Okay, so here's the funny thing about this match, and there's another match that does the same thing, and you may not have noticed because you were into the match, but at the 35-minute call, they do the 35-minute call, then they go straight to the finish. It was like the cue. It was like, wait, no, you can't do that, guys. How long have you been doing this? But they said 35 minutes, and boom, they went straight to the finish. And good to see the Rainmaker back. So
yeah, I think Ospreay is bound for stardom here. I think he's going to be the next foreign superstar in New Japan if he's not already. I mean, I don't know.
I think he is. I mean,
whatever happens with Jay White, I think that Ospreay's got it in the bag as far as being the next big star. So, all right. So our main event for night 1 was Ibushi versus Naito for the double titles. Just fantastic chemistry with these two. Again, many cringe moments, especially with these guys, because they just don't give a shit about their heads and their necks. And I don't know how they managed to go on, both of these guys. So they just don't give a damn. So right away, within the first couple minutes of the match, Ibushi Germaned on the floor onto his head. Within the first 2-3 minutes on the ramp, he's German suplexed onto his head. Naito gets Frankensteinered off the apron to the floor. Just a great fast pace to this match. You would never know. You always hear about these stories about Naito's knees, and he has bad knees and he can barely get to the ring and so on. You would never know once the bell rings that this guy has bad knees and that he's falling apart. So this guy always delivers. Ibushi just kept hitting the Kamigoye till it was enough times, and he finally wins the match. Jay White comes out at the very end to challenge to set up the drama for the next night. Just a really well done piece of work from both of these guys. Dave gave it 5. I gave it 4.5.
I gave it 5. I can't believe it. We disagreed on this.
Finally,
I gave it 5. I absolutely loved it.
I thought you were going to go 5.25.
No, you won't see me do that. You and Dave lost your minds on that. What was I going to say about? I know this is going to surprise you, but I'm not a fan of the Ibushi goes evil thing, where he goes crazy.
He kind of flips out.
Yeah, I don't. I know it's kind of if it's used.
It's okay.
It would be okay if it was used at the end for me. If it was used at the very end, the kind of the pulling the straps down or the comeback like Hogan used to do, I would be okay. But then all of a sudden there's that, it's like he's got a demon in him. I know the storyline, and I know it's very Ibushi because he's into anime and all that kind of stuff. So he loves that kind of. He's just making it, and Kelly puts it over huge. By the way, Kevin Kelly was awesome,
fantastic.
Along with Rocky during
Chris
this.
Charlton.
Put it over perfect. But at this point, the end of the night, you're looking at and you're thinking to yourself, when it comes to the big shows, and I know AEW puts on a hell of a show, but when it comes to the work rate, it's both of them are very, very close. I mean, New Japan's there, but just think AEW's only been in business, just a little over a year, and they're still putting on quality pay-per-views. But at the end of the night, I had a good feeling about it until I seen the mess that they did. The next night at Dash, it was like I didn't even want to watch it, and I'm getting kind of bored of that. But this show was really good.
This felt like it was Ibushi's time. All the criticism that I've given New Japan for various things for this last 6-7 months, this felt like the right time. And, the argument could be made that last year was the right time for Ibushi, but I think this felt like the right time. It felt obvious that this was going to be the title change and it was going to go to Ibushi. And God, I hope he doesn't injure himself or anything. He seems like he's indestructible. So I hope they can run with him for quite some time in 2021.
All right. Do you want to give a thumbs up, thumbs down what it was for the first night real quick?
Oh, we're not this yet? We're
not
there
yet.
Okay. We can do that at the end, but I definitely thumbs up for the night. As far as
no,
the
I'm talking
voters,
about the observer readers.
Yeah, the voters, they had 98.7% thumbs up, 1.3% thumbs in the middle, and nobody voted thumbs down at all, which I tend to agree with that. They had
I did too.
Okada,
thumbs up for that.
They had Okada and Ospreay as the best match. Also agree with that. They had the Rumble as the worst match, although I thought the Okan match was way worse than the Rumble. The Rumble was just entertaining for what it was. If you go into that with low expectations, they met my low expectations. So to me, that was a missed call on the worst match vote.
All right. Now let's talk about Dud of the Year. I saved it for our next episode instead of putting it on Twitter. So what I need you to do is you give me one of them, and you'll take the other one, because for the second year in a row, we've got Dud of the Year. So congratulations to you, Lance. I appreciate we put out so many episodes. I'm not making excuses, but I told P3 Radio, by the way, I think you guys had something to do with this.
Sabotage.
Yeah,
there was ballot stuffing.
You put out so many episodes. Some episodes just don't hit it. They just don't hit it. And that's what happened 2 years ago with P3 Radio. But for the last 2 years, me and you, I think we had a Cool Kids Countdown last year. We got the Observer this year, one of the episodes. So, hey, thank you guys for not listening to that episode. So we
hey, if I can get some free junk food out of this, then I'm okay with it. Although I'm lactose intolerant, so I believe that there should be a miscount. There's some sort of injustice has been perpetrated by Richard Lee and Joshua Lee. I think they just didn't want to win it for 3 years in a row, and somehow they stuffed the ballot box.
All right, guys, we're going to still be on Patreon. As you know, you can keep following the live feed on Patreon, and we're going off Facebook Live now. Now, let's go to a commercial.
Pink.